Lost the Battle of Britain, so the consequences were that the Germans had to blitz from a very high ceiling of over 20,000 feet, because at that time, especially during the night time, because the British had no night fighting capabilities at that time. All they had was the searchlights and the ack guns, and they were not very effective, right? But the only way they could pinpoint a place, because after bombing they realized that most of their bombs were within 2 to 10 kilometers away from their intended target and further. So the only way they could intently get one specific area was to send in fighter bombers at around dusk, and they would drop incendiary bombs on their intended target, start the fires. Night would fall, the bombers would come across, there'd be a blackout anyway, and they would drop their bombs wherever the fire was shown. So on this particular night, they sent in fighter bombers because they wanted to destroy the city of London. And they dropped over 116,000 plus incendiary bombs within the 1 square mile. That started over 1,500 fires going all over the place. Of course, you had thousands of firemen trying to fight the blaze. 28 of those incendiary bombs actually hit St. Paul's Cathedral, but thanks to Churchill, you had 200 firemen within St. Paul's Cathedral 24/7. We call them the St. Paul's Fire Watch, and they actually put off the flames. And if I tell you how, you're going to laugh. Stirrup pumps, buckets of water. There was one of the incendiary bombs that actually locked itself onto the lead roof or the lead dome, melted through it, fell on the concrete, and a fireman immediately took a bucket of sand, tipped it over on its side on top of it to put out the flame. They put out the flames and it was there, but that's the spires. The dome is obscured by the smoke, but it stands intact. Yeah. But if you were Churchill, and if you were sitting or standing on top of the roof of this very building, you could actually see St. Paul's Cathedral because it was the tallest building in the whole of London. Yeah. But that particular night, that's what you saw. So Churchill is very upset. He sends an urgent order to firemen at all costs save St. Paul's Cathedral. Before the order actually gets to the firemen, you got over 400 of them that actually made a ring around St. Paul because they instinctively realized that St. Paul's faces an existential threat. They have their backs to St. Paul's Cathedral, training their hoses on the fires around to stop the fires from engulfing St. Paul's Cathedral. By the morning, they realized that they saved St. Paul's. But the consequences today, if you visit St. Paul's or if you've been there or will be going there, you will realize that there's nothing whatsoever around St. Paul that predates that night. And I got a few photographs to show you. In fact, I'll show a lot of you. I'll go on to, that's that very night. The bomb hits the roof of the altar, that's the altar there. It does not explode. Had it exploded, there would have been mayhem, right? That's one that did explode. But it's the center of the room. And of course, that made them very happy. Why it made them happy? Because it did not damage the structure. It was in the middle of the room. You could see the crypt underneath. There was no structural damage. That's what was amazing about it. This one I have to show you pretty close because you'll see a couple of firemen there sticking their heads out. That's where the incendiary bombs hit the roof. And they're sticking their heads out to make sure there's one there and there's one there. And they're ensuring that there's no more steam or smoke coming out of it that would tell you that the fires are out completely. This is one very, very close to my heart because it's an amazing painting done by Leonard Roselman. Leonard Roselman was a fireman that night. He was in Shoe Lane, that was adjoining St. Paul's Cathedral. He was fighting the fire that night, came to the end of his shift. He and his partner hand their hoses on to another couple of firemen. And as they walk away, they're about 30 or 40 meters away, they hear this rumble and this crack. Turn around and realize the whole wall is falling on their friends. One of them got killed instantly, and the other one survived, but he was maimed. It was a terrible night. He's done that as a memorial, but he's also done that to tell people, to make people realize that the firemen were not just holding hoses. They were going into the mouth of danger. They were going into blazing buildings. They were pulling out dead people. They were trying to save people. They were dodging the bombs that were falling, dodging the masonry that were falling. They were in the front line as much as anybody else. And they deserve, and I should understand that because my son's a fireman. Anyway, this is a picture of St. Paul, this is a map of St. Paul's Cathedral. I'll bring it around to you all. That's where the first bomb hit. You remember around the altar? It's in light orange.
Yeah.
And the reason it's in light orange is because the damage done could be repaired immediately. All the bits around in light orange could be repaired. The damage was not intense. The ones in dark orange was intensely bombed, and they only could be saved after the war because they did not have the facilities during the wartime to be able to save them. The blacks or the blues around were totally destroyed. But again, what I'm saying is this is only on the 29th of December. The blitzing went on till about the 13th of May 1941. So for another 5 months, there were a lot more places destroyed. Okay, gentlemen?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.